वाला भी पेज है ना?
बहुत ऑब्वियस। लिख लो
अपना मैं
पहले।
एयरप्लेन मोड पे डाल दूँ फ़ोन, ताकि कॉल ना आए उस समय। अरे वाह, ज्वाइन भी हो गए थे सारे लोग। हाय, गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन। आई होप you're all doing well. Thank you for being here. We'll just start in 2 minutes at 11 o'clock sharp. किसका आना है? 11 o'clock हो तो बोल रही हूँ। 58. Thank you. Hello everyone. Thank you for being here and joining us. We'll just start in another 1 minute. इलेवन को बोलना पूरे। Hi everyone. Okay, good morning everyone. I'm Kanika. I'm the founder of the page, and I have been working as a special educator for 10 years now, and I'm very passionate about my work with children. In my experience, I have realized that in every grade there are at least 2 to 3 students who have challenges in class, and I feel very strongly about identifying such children, what is the nature of their challenge, and how best it is that we all can support them. Hence, I started this page in order to spread awareness about special education and to be able to build a network of professionals who work in this field, so that they can connect with each other, as well as parents, teachers, and people who are wanting to enter the field of special education can get the right kind of guidance. So that's the whole idea behind this page, and I really hope that you enjoy today's session. I will be having 3-4 speakers join us about and talk about different aspects of special education. So without much further delay, I'd like to invite our first speaker for the day, Mrs. Apurva Vashisht. I think she's just a second. Apurva has over 5 years of experience in this field of special education. She's worked as a psychologist in a hospital, as well as a special educator with schools with different boards like IB, ICSE, and Cambridge. And today she's going to talk to us about the role of parents in the growth and development of children with special needs. So welcome, Miss Apurva. Really glad to have you over
Thank
here.
you so
Thank you
much.
for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Kanika. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And I really thank you for giving me this opportunity.
We are all
So,
glad to just have you over here.
thank you so much.
So, Apurva, today you're going to tell us about what is the journey of a parent and what are the different kinds of steps that they need to follow if they have a special needs student child. So, please
Correct.
let's just begin.
Sure. The role of parents in dealing with a special needs child is very crucial. So since the time of birth, I feel that the role of parent, it just gets difficult for them to manage and to identify first. So it's very
Right.
crucial for them to understand that how do they identify that a child is having a special need or not.
Right.
So the role basically the parents are going to lay the foundation for the for the growth.
Right,
They are
right.
going to, make the child understand that, these are the things, these are the challenges that you have, and how we can deal with that. So
And it must be
I feel that,
overwhelming for the parents also because not all parents come with the
yeah,
background of awareness about special education. So it must be a really very confusing
correct.
period for them as well.
Correct. So many a times parents, they fail to understand when to start, how to start. So today I'm going to discuss about the roles at different levels.
Okay.
So since I told that since the birth you can identify, so first role comes in identification of milestones.
Okay.
So when I talk about milestones, all the children that they have some milestones that they achieve as they grow. For
Okay.
example, sitting with or without support can be achieved by 6 months. Some children will be able to achieve it early in life. Some, will make it little late to achieve that.
Right. There could be
Similarly,
many
walking starts.
advantages.
Yes, yes. Similarly,
Mhm.
walking starts by the age of 1 year.
Mhm.
And speaking, non-verbal gestures, the child is able to understand by, after 6 months. So
Okay.
speaking usually starts by 1 to 3 years of age. So by
Mhm.
1 year of age, the child should be able to say simple words.
Okay.
So these are the milestones that we have in our, since the time of birth, we have, so there are many others like, walking and then sitting without support, neck holding. So these things are there, so that's how we, identify. As a parent, you need to be vigilant that whether the child is able to, achieve the milestones or, if he's late or if the milestones are delayed. So that's
So
a,
how do you
if
get to know that there is a delay in achieving? Like how many months gap would you say counts as a delay?
Okay, so the thing is, if you say that the child is able to sit by the age of 7 months, eight
Okay.
months, it's still acceptable. But if a child is already has crossed 1 year and is
Hmm.
not able to sit without support, so
Okay.
at that time you can say it is delayed. Similarly for speech, by 3 years the child should be able to talk simple sentences. But if
Okay.
that is not achieved, then you can say, by the age of 4 years or 5 years, if the child is not speaking, then there could be a language delay for the child.
Right,
So
right.
that's how we get to understand that the child is not able to identify the achieve the delays or the milestones, and that's how be alarmed with that. These are the warning signs that we need to look for.
So once the parents identify that there is this warning sign, my child has not yet achieved a particular milestone, let's say. So what is it
Hmm.
that they should do at that particular time? Where whom should they consult, or what is the first step that they need to take once they realize that there is a delay?
Yeah, now comes the second role. Now you have identified the child is having a delay, right? You are able to see the child is not achieving the milestones as per the required age level.
Hmm.
Now the role of the specialist comes. In
Okay.
that, first of all, we should consult a pediatrician or a developmental, specialist who can guide you in deciding whether the milestones are actually delayed or they are late, or have a proper physical examination of the child in order to decide whether the child is growing as per his age. Then if they are delayed, so sometimes what happens, some of the milestones will be achieved, some will not be achieved.
Right,
That
right.
can also be the reason. I'll give you an example. If you say that a child is able to walk, is able to sit without support, is able to his fine motor and gross motors are well developed, but the child is not able to speak.
Okay.
In that case, we can say that she is having a language disorder, receptive or expressive language delay is there. So in
Okay.
that case, a pediatrician can directly guide you to a speech therapist.
Okay.
Now, in some cases, what happens, the child is able to walk and all the milestones are achieved, but cognitive functioning is not as per the age level. The child is not able to, conduct the simple task, instructions that we give, one-step instructions that we give, go there and get a water bottle or something. The child might get distracted or not able to follow the
Right.
instruction. That means cognitive delay or, delay is there. So in that case, you might have to go for the intervention of psychologist.
I have a question over
So
here. This puts a lot of onus of responsibility upon the pediatrician, but there could be times that the pediatrician might not be able to catch it. So, in that case, if let's say the parent is really convinced that there is something amiss, they don't know, what to call it. So then, where does a parent go? Whom can they consult? Because not always pediatrician might have the right knowledge or the resources to make the parents connect with.
Yeah, see, sometimes what happens that totally depends upon at what age you're taking the child to the pediatrician. So if the child is really very young, if the child has not even completed 1 year of his life, so at that time, if you're taking the child to the pediatrician, maybe they will say that the milestones are not delayed but late. So that also depends at what time you're going for the intervention. And
Right,
if you
because
feel that
somebody in the audience has asked that, what about the role of older people, like especially in India, many of us live in joint families. So you would have, like grandparents or other aunts and uncles say that, oh, this is fine, this is just normal. His father was also very late and talking or walking, and, he'll just catch up. He's just a little lazy. How do you deal with that? Even if as a parent you want to go to these people, specialists and everything, then how to address it?
see, the thing is, see, we all live in a society in which we usually look at the picture at a very brighter side. We don't consider that it's a delay. So we always try to see no, it's everything is fine. The child will be able to make up. We might say that the parents were also they also achieved it at later, much later at in their age. So in that case, you really have to see where the delay and how the intensity of the delay is. If the
Right.
child is really able to, you have other children or you have other in your society there are other kids who are probably of the same age, so you can compare that how much the delay, what is the level of delay in the child. So if the
Right.
child is not able to have a proper grip on objects, then you can't ignore that. It's a very crucial skill that is developed much early in the age, so we can't ignore that, and we can't say. And similarly for speech, so if the child is not able to understand the non-verbal cues, it is going to become a big deal later in the years.
Right.
So that's how you have to address it. That you have to decide. You have to take a call. That okay, sometimes we just need to rule out these things. You might
Right.
have a doubt. There's no harm in ruling out that doubt.
True,
So
true.
that's how the parents can have an interdisciplinary approach. So if the pediatrician is saying that the child is developing as per the age, so at that time if you still have a doubt, you can have a second opinion of a psychologist.
Right.
At that time, if the child is above 5 years of age, the child can have a IQ assessment done, intellectual assessment done. In that case, and everything will be clear, like whether the child is having any delay, or whether the child is able to grasp the concept as per his age. So things like those. So we really need to be very cautious about the things, especially in the early years, because we always say that as early you are able to detect the the delay, it will only going to help you out,
Right,
because
right.
there are
Because
things
it's
you
going
can
to,
teach here.
stop you from, delaying things further and getting the
Yeah,
child the
yeah,
required help. Right, right.
yes.
So
So
once the parents get this diagnosis because they've consulted with the required specialist, they've got a diagnosis that, this is the nature of problem that your child is facing. Then,
mhm.
what happens? Like, do all parents accept it immediately? Do they take time? How does that have an impact on, whether the child will receive the required help? What goes on?
So the thing is, see, a lot of it depends upon the mindset of parent. So if the parent only have decided to take the child for assessment, that means they have identified and accepted to some level that something is wrong with my child. So
Okay.
if the parent has already a doubt in the mind, that means you are on your path to discovery, on the path of discovery, that what exactly is the problem, where I can help my child. But
Hmm.
sometimes what happens, even after diagnosis, the parents are not able to accept the fact that the child has certain disability.
Right, right,
So,
right.
for example, disabilities, there are certain disabilities we can identify, at an early age. Yet, there are other disabilities we can only identify once the child starts going to school. For example, learning disability, wherein the genetic disorders like Down syndrome and Fragile X syndrome, these are the syndromes which you can see. So in
Right,
that
right.
case, it's a visible disability. Wherein there are disabilities in which we cannot actually see. You sometimes, if we take it as a joke that okay, the children who have learning disability, if they write B, they get confused in the mirror image later. So that time, parents might say that with practice it will be fine, and this is nothing. This is not, this is nothing. This is only going to go by the age. By the time you will be 10, 12, you will be able to understand what is the thing is. So that's how we tend to ignore. But then again, if you accept it, then you might see the spillover of these, symptoms in other areas as well. For example, the child having learning disability will have difficulty following directions, will have difficulty identifying left side, right side, will have difficulty probably following the path that they take, on a daily basis. If you leave them alone, they might get lost. So these are the things that we need to keep in mind. So once you have accepted it, I think half the battle is won. So
Right,
the
right.
parent needs
That's how
to
we can
accept
actually
that
get down to addressing the problem.
yes, and that way, if the child will be stronger because the child already understands that okay, fine, my parents are supporting me. And one more thing I would want to add here is that many a times we tend to look at the negative sides of the disability. My child cannot do this. My child cannot spell correctly. My child cannot talk. So let's start at the positive side, which the child can do, and build that up. So
Right,
rather
right.
than blaming the child or labeling the child of not doing the things, we can actually have the child have a confidence in the things that he's doing. So
Right, right.
once the child will start going to school, so in now we have inclusive setup. So the child probably will be struggling in few things, but he can catch up on other things which he is really good at. If and
So
we
what
should
are the kind of these interventions that we can, the support or intervention that we can give once we find out, like in the school, we find out that, the child has this diagnosis and the child needs support. So what can we adults do to support the child and reduce the challenge?
Okay, so the thing is, so the diagnosing in all this process is a very tiring process, and it's very exhausting for the parents because once if it's a if the child has got multiple disorders, and at that time you have to go to one specialist to another, and then that's how you have to solve the mystery that what exactly is wrong with my child. So in
Hmm.
that case, you can start off the remedies at home. So
Okay.
you can start off the things which are as basic as you can. If the child is having fine motor skill problem, or that area is not that developed, so you can ask the child to organize a table, or take out the peas from the pea pods, things like those. So that way, these are the basic things we can ask the child to do. Similarly, some children have sensory needs. They need to have they want to feel something in their hand, or they like certain textures. For that, we can, if a child likes slime, so you can use that slime to teach other concepts. Okay, you can
Okay.
ask the child to use Play-Doh to create letters,
Hmm.
and you can ask the child to build something with the sand, or you can use sandpaper if the child is comfortable with that texture. So you can ask the child to, trace it with the finger and then write the letter from their whatever they thought they from the recall. They can do that.
Right,
So these are
right.
the basic strategies that we can start from at home. These are the very basic things. And by the time once you have the diagnosis and once the assessment is complete, I would recommend that you should follow up with a with a specialist, and you can you should actually whatever strategies or whatever suggestions have been recommended, please follow those things, and try to
Hmm.
those in daily life as much as you can.
Right,
And
right.
some children, like, they have a hyperactivity disorder, or they're very hyper. So for them, you can actually have a corner in your house in which they are allowed to, burn their energy, because they have a lot of energy in them which they cannot channelize. So you can ask them. So if the child wants to run, let them run, because that's how they channelize their energy. Or if you
Okay.
want to put it in a, in a positive way, you can ask the child to ride a bike. Yeah,
Right.
they can actually run. They can have a race, something like that. So we need to see, how we can channelize so much of energy that our children have in a
Right.
positive way.
So there's this question from our audience that, what about the marital conflict that arises because of the diagnosis? That
See,
does it impact the relationship between both the parents if a child receives a diagnosis?
that is true. So many of the cases have been there that, probably one parent is able to accept, but the other parent is in denial,
Okay.
or will take some time to accept that, okay, this is it, and this is how I have to live with. Some parents have this tendency of accepting things at a much early stage, but if they have a cordial relation, then probably both the parents will be able to accept it by going to a psychologist, and for that. So I would recommend that you should have a division of roles.
Okay.
So for an example, if the parent is having a difficulty in accepting it, so
Mhm.
I would recommend that they should go for a therapy on their own, in which they should understand that together they can win it. It's
Right,
not
right.
one person job.
Because as parents,
So
we would also need a lot of support, emotional support, social
yes,
support, once
yes,
they realize
yes.
that there is a problem. Right,
Yes.
right.
So once you go there, you might find other parents. You can join a support group, and then you can talk to your friends. You can talk to your family about it if they're open in discussing topics like this, and you can actually share it with a psychologist, with someone who is really close to you, and you should actually be able to accept. The better you're able to accept it, it's going
And
to
the
really
sooner
help.
parents accept it, the more
Yes.
the child can benefit from it. Right.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So,
So we have certain support groups as well. So
mhm.
in that you will meet children. You may realize that my child is doing much better than this child, or you might feel that okay, over there's clear strategies as well.
Right, right.
So you might learn, okay, this strategy is not working for me. So probably this strategy might work for my child as well. So that's how we can learn from others as well. So,
So, thank you, Miss Apurva. You've shared a lot of information with us. I am sure it must have been very helpful for all our viewers. The information was very valuable. Thank you for being here.
thank you so much.
And
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
for
you.
one member of the audience, you've asked about the child not accepting online teaching with the given teacher. So we have our next speaker, Mrs. Himani Mehta. She would be addressing the issues related to the kind of strategies we can use for struggling students. So now I'd like to welcome our second speaker of the day. She is Mrs. Himani Mehta, and she's been working in an IB school for the past 4 years. She has experience of working as a homeroom teacher with a class of 20 students, as well as a resource teacher who's worked with students having additional learning needs. So today she'll be sharing her experience of how, as a teacher, she was able to, pay attention to the warning signs, identify that this child is not just giving me a difficult time, but is actually going through a difficult time, and what small little changes she was able to do in the way she taught to be able to, help the child in the learning process. So, welcome, Himani. We're really happy to have you over here. And we're very, very thankful that you would be sharing a lot of useful insights with us over here today.
So, thank you, Kanika, for having me here. And hopefully, I would be able to help some parents or teachers out at least. So, yeah, my journey with special education is. Goes back to the day I started teaching. And what happens is mainly, so I have experience of teaching older students like around 10-12 years old. So the occurrence of bullying and the occurrence of low self-esteem, like demotivation, creeps in a lot at that age, in that age group specifically, when they are just entering their puberty. So what happens is that most of the time,
You were
yeah,
saying most of the time.
yeah. So most of the time it happens so that you will find these some kids who will be purposely behaving mischievously, who would be not doing some homework, not bringing certain books. And this is not just one odd incident. This is something that happens continuously. day in and day out. It's a regular pattern with a child. So the first thing a teacher needs to do is to identify, is it like, why is it like this? Why is it a regular pattern? So I
Right.
came to realize it. I had a child in my class. Whenever there were multiple instructions given, like, quick instructions. Okay, open your book to page number so and so, and okay, keep your homework ready, be ready with a pen, pencil, and also get your this book or that book. The child is having so many things thrown at him or her that the child tends to get uh,
Overwhelmed.
confused, and he or she is able to just take one odd instructions in it, like one odd instruction out of it.
Right,
So
right.
what happens is, he or she will maybe just sit with a book. And what does the teacher do? Okay, I asked you to open to such a page. Why have you not opened it yet?
Right, right.
Okay, and because of that embarrassment that comes along, other kids might snicker, or they might just laugh, make fun of a child,
Right,
you know. So with that thing, the child decides, इससे अच्छा तो मैं बोल दूंगा मैं लाया ही नहीं हूँ. So
right.
you will
It's
see that
easier. Nobody
I
wants
forgot my
to
book.
say that, I'm not able to do it. It's just easy to
Yeah.
just avoid, run away from it.
Exactly. So they will say, I forgot my book. I have not done my homework. They would have done it also. There are chances they would have done the homework. It's just that they did not comprehend the whole set of instructions, and hence they just accepted that, okay, it is all right to say that I have not done the homework, rather than face those, laughs and those snickers which are coming from the friends and peers. कि
Okay.
इतना भी समझ में नहीं आता. So simple thing that a teacher can do is, write instruction on the board, make the instruction short, go to that particular child and actually talk to
Anybody,
the
just a
child,
second,
explain the
sorry I'm
child.
interrupting, but there's a request that if possible, can you remove the earphones because that's causing trouble for some of the viewers
Okay.
to hear you properly. Thank you so much. Sorry, please continue.
Actually, I have a small kid at home, so I thought that maybe to avoid that
Yeah, it's
thing.
okay,
Okay,
no
no
problem.
issue.
Continue.
Yeah. So one thing that is there is, so this is something which I did in the class. So with the same child who was just denying to submit the homework, what I did was, I used to put instruction on the board, and I used to also speak them. Okay.
Okay.
So two things are going, and the child is able to make connection.
Right. And in
And
case the child
again,
has missed out on a particular step, he can always read it from the board.
exactly. And he does not have to depend on some peer. All he or she needs to do is look at the board and just
Right.
get things right. Again, short instruction, not long instruction. So my instructions used to consist of 3 to 4 words max in a line. In a
Right.
sentence, there are not more than 4 words or 5 words max. So, or maybe a checklist or list of things are given. So the child knows I need to be ready with this thing.
Okay.
Small checklist, like sometimes these students can be provided with like checklist where they can just pick. So these kids also face challenges where they forget things at school, they forget things back at home,
Right,
they
right.
don't know how to organize their things. So maybe a small checklist which is pasted with them in their one of their notebooks or in all their notebooks, which says, okay, at the end of the day you need to carry these things.
Right,
Okay, so
right.
they will not forget their bottles, they will not forget their tiffin boxes, some compass boxes, some notebook. In our school, we have Chromebooks, so Chromebooks and stuff like those. Um,
So
so this is just one
there
small
was
tip.
this question from one of the viewers. They said that since the lockdown due to COVID-19, all the schools have started with online learning. So the what is it that the teacher can do something differently so that the child who is resisting the class can would actually want to be a part of the class, because over here like you won't be able to have the board, you won't be able to talk to the child
Right.
individually personally, because you have to address all 20 children in the online class in one go. So what is the kind of change that what is the kind of support that you can give for this particular child at that particular time?
Okay, so there are something, if you're using Zoom as an app, there's something called as breakout rooms.
Okay.
The teacher should actually get into the practice of creating more of such breakout rooms where, maybe she can take these children away, differentiate the task. Okay, there are some who are like they are very good at academics, Then there
Okay.
are some who are meeting the grade level, and then there are some who are actually struggling or facing
Right,
challenges
right.
in it. So when you're meeting, so the challenge, the students who are good at it, who already are clear with the concept, simple thing, you give them more challenging things. Let them, become these nutcrackers in your class. And, let them break their heads on some difficult problem, which will lead them to be more critical in terms of thinking. Your average ones, you can give them simple problems, which is just cementing their concepts.
Right, right.
And these ones, the ones who are struggling, you can look at options which are available within the house. And maybe you can use a lot of visuals for them. So a
Okay.
simple term like integers. So
Mhm.
what I used to do is I used to create a story out of it. This is something which I took from another friend of mine. So she used to do it in the class and it was effective. And I took it back and I tried it out. So the negative numbers are the villains. The positive numbers are heroes, and they
Right.
both have equal strength. Now, boys, they love Avengers. They love,
Right, right.
find out what is it that the child love, what is it the child is passionate about and enjoys.
Right.
You will find this is a very common thing. The girls, if you're talking about, talk about stars, smileys, unicorns. They will enjoy stories around it. They will enjoy things around it. They will enjoy stickers related to it. While boys, they would be more like Avengers. So for me, whenever a good grading is to be given, okay, you did really well. So every time writing really well, excellent was not enough for them. So there were these ratings. So, okay, if you are doing excellent, like you get a Thor hammer. If you are doing good, better than what you were doing last time, you get Captain America shield. So those were drawings. I used to draw using a pen, but they were more than happy. Okay, I want a Thor hammer. Today I've done really well. I've got
So when
all
you
correct.
used
So
to
that is
do
a kind of
these
enthusiasm.
reinforcements, did you share this like did you tell that students beforehand, like when you were introducing the task, that these are my expectations, and if you perform this at this level, then this is what the result will be. This is what you will receive, or it is after the after checking their work that you just give it.
So sometimes, I used to do it afterwards where I knew that the child is already comfortable, he or she is like, it is doing a regular task. It's just that they want something like a peak. When I know the task is really boring and I really want the child to do it, even though it is boring and needed, that was the time when I used to, show them that, okay, there is this carrot at the end of the stick. And, for that, and even there used to be other things which were given to them, simple things like, okay, so we will take 5 minutes break, we will share stories, we will crack jokes. So there used to be these moment breaks which were placed in our class. So you
Okay.
can't expect these children to sit in a place, attend a class for continuous 45 minutes. You need to allow them to get up, go drink water.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like, you can't just expect, to 45 minutes, 50 minutes. And if you're a parent and you feel that your teacher is not willing to do, speak to the teacher. That, see, this is a struggle with my child is facing. If I'm able to give that 5 minute break to him or her, then he or she will be able to focus better.
Right.
I think at least the schools can be accommodating, since we all, as a country education system, we are moving towards inclusive education. So this is how inclusion works. You need to differentiate your task. You need to give a lot of manipulatives. Okay, so a lot of kinesthetic tasks. These kids are the ones who love moving around the whole school.
Right. So you
Okay.
talked about inclusive education and differentiation. So one of our viewers has asked that she's a working mother, and there's a whole lot of syllabus to be covered with the child at home to be able to review. So how do they balance it out? Because the thing is, many a times the child comes home and it's as though they've not even heard the concept. So,
Okay.
remembering about the concept is a far-fetched thing. And at that point of time, it's like, let's say, since you've been working in an IB school, and most of the parents from our generation, they attended CBSE or ICSE schools. They're not even
Thank you.
familiar with what the IB technique is. So, how do they support their child at a time like this?
Okay, so one of the best things that you can do is, I think many of us have these smart TVs which have inbuilt YouTube connection and all those.
Mhm.
Go to YouTube, you will find excellent educative videos for each and every concept present, right from ABC phonics to, some complex programming concept, to be very frank. Okay, you can use lot of videos. So if you are teaching a small child addition, So rather than teaching them on paper and pen like 1 plus 2 is equal to 3, simple thing, give them objects. This is one apple, these are two more apple. Okay, how many apple count? Let them visualize these. The students who are having learning difficulties, they are a lot of time visual learners. They learn once they see things. They learn once they do things. So till the time their hands, they use their five senses exclusively. So how do you enhance their five senses?
Okay.
So when you're making them taste, okay. So simple thing. Okay, this is like uh, addition concept if I'm teaching, even in integers for that matter. Okay, this is soup with little bit of salt, 1 grain of salt. What if I add 2 more spoons into it? It will become more salt here.
Right.
Okay,
right.
it will not taste good. So it is becoming saltier. So if salt is a positive number, you add more positive numbers to it, it is going to increase the quantity. It is not going to decrease it. That is where the creativity comes in. Once the concepts are fixed, give them lots of practice with manipulatives. You get good amount of manipulatives in the market also. Or simple thing, make a cake. Use what do you call? Okay, everybody has a cardboard paper at home, or they can buy it nearby. Buy a mount board. Just write letters on it. Okay. If you're taking spelling practice, spread these letters around your whole room. Okay. You give the word, ask the child, pick up all those cards which form this spelling and form it and show it to me. If it is a younger child who is just learning alphabet, throw these cards around the room and call out the alphabet or call out the word. Say cat. Okay, so what is the beginning letter in cat or beginning sound in cat? So k is the beginning sound. So go get it.
Right.
So the
then
C
you are using
sound and
movement
the
of
word.
making the child run from
Yes.
here to there, and you are avoiding the paper pencil task, which can get quite boring.
Yeah.
Right.
Another thing is, as these students go a little bit older, provide them with ICT,
Some of the
allow
people are
them to.
saying that there is a sound problem. Sorry, Himani, but I think you'll have to
Yeah.
go back to using your earphones because now there is a problem. No.
Yeah. Actually, it was
Sound
coming
problem.
before also. So I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Okay. So it's okay. It's okay. Don't use the earphones because that made it worse. Um, yeah, we'll just continue. So, Himani, you've shared a lot of great strategies with us, which people can use it, as you've mentioned, little things that they can do to change things in their classroom, and how a child can, be more motivated and interested to actually perform and be a part of that activity. Before I let you go, I would really want to ask if there is any message that you would want to give to your audience.
So there's just one thing, this is something which I've seen, I have believed all the time. Not necessary academic, being good at academics is everything. We were privileged that we were good at academics, but not every child is good at academics. Yeah. So find out the strength. It is not just the duty of parent, but also duty of the teacher to find out what is the
Right.
child good at. There's some difference.
Is it better now? Sound? Yeah, now the sound
Yeah.
is better. Yeah.
Yeah. So find out what the child is good at, and trust me, every child is good at something or the other. Every child has his or her own strength. Focus on the strength, and the moment parent or teacher starts focusing on the strength, you build on the strength, you build on the self-esteem. The child will automatically start performing in academics as well. So it is like, first you motivate them, build on their self-esteem, and identify their aspects. And children with learning challenges may not have, they are excellent with logical reasoning. I had a child who was having difficulty with writing, okay, but the child would do mental calculations of fractions. Okay, big numbers, fractions, you give anything, excellent in chess. I had another child, excellent in singing, does not need academics so much. So, That
So
is how
every
you
child might
identify
not
what they are
shine
good
at
at.
academics, but they might have some other area where they can do well. So we need to
Yeah,
identify
definitely.
what the child is interested in and what the child can perform best at. Right,
Yeah,
right.
right. Yeah.
Accordingly, have realistic expectations from the child. Right, right.
Yes. And motivate the child. All the time motivate the child because the child is already getting sufficient demotivation around him.
Right.
So whether
True.
from peers unknowingly or knowingly also sometimes peers will bully him.
Of
So how
course.
is it that you can teach the child to, get up again, walk with a head held high kind of a thing, and, just face those challenges because the world is not going to stop, targeting him or her.
Right, right,
You
right.
need to teach the child how to, accept the reality that the child is facing
Mhm.
and
Okay.
how to walk, be proud about it and walk tall kind.
Right, right. So thank you so much. Thank you, Himani, for being here and sharing such wonderful strategies with us. I really hope that the people who are in the audience found it useful. And in case you have more questions, do write to us. And Himani and Apurva would definitely be there, ready and really excited to address your concerns. Thank you so much, Himani. Thank you for your valuable
Thank
time.
you. Yeah.
Okay, so I hope you found those strategies quite helpful, and you can use some of them to make your classes more interesting. Without further ado, I would like to now invite our third speaker for the day, Mrs. Sana Noor. She has been working in an IB school for more than 5 years as a technology integration specialist. She has a vast experience of teaching regular as well as children with special needs, and she feels very strongly about using technology as a medium for teaching so that you can make your teaching learning experience more exciting, more motivating, and more in the more with the times. Given that in the 21st century we're all about technology, especially post COVID. So, hi Sana, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us and talking to us about such an important topic.
Yeah, hi Kanika, and thank you for having me. Um, okay, so just because you mentioned COVID, and right now
Right.
almost everyone around the world, they have moved to virtual learning and online learning. There's a lot of disturbance in the sound for some reason.
Sana, just wait for a second. I think there's some sound problem from both the ends.
Yeah.
Let's for 10 seconds and then start talking again. Is it better? क्या करना है? Bye. Is
Now,
this can people hear us properly now? Again,
I think
sound disturbance. Okay. Abhi, is the sound better now?
yeah, I can't hear any disturbance anymore.
Okay, so please
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, so yeah, I was talking about the virtual learning and online learning, which is right now the topmost priority for all schools, and how to get that positively to the children. Of course, like I was listening to the first session also with Apurva, where some mothers were saying that it's very difficult to grab the attention of younger students, especially during this
Right,
time.
right.
They need that space, they need a physical space, they need that energy within a room to be able to concentrate. But that is where technology plays a very important role. But I would also say that as parents and as teachers, we have to maintain a very, very uh, sensitive balance, that we should
Okay.
not over. Right now everybody feels that yeah, technology is very good and it's helping my child, so they tend to overdo, mostly as parents, because we don't have time sometimes at home, also
Right,
working. And
right.
so that is one thing that I really want to, despite the fact that I believe that technology really helps in taking the learning forward for every
Right.
age and for every type of ability, every type of child, because I have actually seen in all these years that it really helps. But there is one thing where we as parents and teachers need to draw a line, that there needs to be a balance. So
Okay.
yes, of course, for each age group, if I can quote a few examples from the time that I have experienced how it has helped the children with special needs and
Special
special.
needs. Right, right.
So it helps technology because we always have a choice of mellowing down the task for them and giving them tool another tool which is
Right, right.
more visual in terms of, like, if we give a task which is, then we can mellow down the task for the special needs child and give them something which is more visual and graphic, something
Okay.
which they to achieve, because we don't have to again make them
So we are able
feel
to present it
small
in a
that I'm
simpler
not
manner.
able to do it, or sorry, I didn't hear you.
I was saying, so we are able to use technology to present the material in a simple fashion.
Yeah, and the child also has this sense of achievement that I have been able to complete whatever the others were doing. Because
Right.
unfortunately, the special needs child always knows that I am a little different from the rest of
Yeah.
the children in the class, and I am so different because the teachers generally always go to that child personally and give them instructions, break down the instructions to them.
Mhm.
So yeah, they are smart enough to know that we are. So to keep their self-esteem and self-confidence, it's very
Right,
important
right.
that we give them a task which they're able to achieve. And
Mhm.
as teachers, we identify their strengths. Like there were certain when we were uh, 3D modeling. So 3D modeling does not need any kind of
Uh-huh.
reading. So that brought all the children at the same level. And some of
Right.
our special needs children, they responded creating amazing
Mhm.
stuff on the 3D modeling tool, and they were able to have
Right.
find that passion that this is what I really enjoy
Mhm.
doing, is what I like, and they were able to create things much better than. So there are certain things in technology, like especially the make part, where the reading and the writing is not involved. That is where we can tap these children, where they also feel that, yeah, I am also able to achieve something. I'm able to do something which the others
Yeah, the
can
sense of
not
achievement is there
sometimes.
because then they are
So
also able
yeah,
to
it's very
participate.
important, I feel. Not
Okay, we are still loading. I think there's some connectivity issue. Yeah. Sana,
yeah,
if possible, please
and then
repeat your last sentence because we got network issues. So I believe you were talking about how using technology can actually help the struggling students also participate
yeah,
meaningfully, so they have a sense of achievement.
there was a lag, but
Right, right. Could you share the names of some of the apps or softwares that the teachers or parents might be able
yeah,
to use it to
yeah,
enhance their child's
and
learning process?
also emphasize
There's some sound problem here.
uh, although there are thousands and millions of apps which are.
Uh,
Can you hear me?
yeah, now I can. There was disturbance earlier. Now I can hear you.
Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
Sana, just wait for 10 seconds.
yeah,
I
I was
can't
saying
hear
tons
you.
of apps and tools that I'm sure many of the teachers and the parents are aware.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, continue, continue.
Is it audible now?
A little bit, yeah, better than before.
Yeah.
Should I start again?
So yeah, you were asking about kinds of apps and
Right, right.
tools. In there are many.
Not clear, no?
But if I can even give you that we have successfully worked upon. Like I was
Okay.
talking about breaking down the task into a graphic organizer.
Sana, just hang on with us. Viewers,
So,
please hang on. I'm going to
populate
start.
any.
Because there's a
Can
lot
you
of
hear me?
disturbance in sound, I'm going to start again. So I'm going to stop this live feed and start immediately again. So please hang in there with us and don't leave.